Thanks very much. It's always great to be here. This is a fantastic venue. It's a good size, and it's nice to see a lot of familiar faces. I think a lot of us have got up here and spoken about the experiential side of things, and that is incredibly important. I think at Stockland, we've got the advantage also of being diversified. So we've got a huge residential portfolio, in fact, we're the biggest residential subdivider in the country. So we also look at community and experience through a double lens, as it were. We also look at how it fits into community. So today I'm going to talk about sort of four things and where we see things going in terms of livability, in terms of health and inclusivity, solar, and how that all rolls back into our town centre rollout. Because when we look at shopping centres, whether it's big guns or it's a more small and more a neighbourhood type centre, community is at the centre of all these type of developments. In terms of livability, as a number of my other colleagues have indicated, it's all about data. And we survey a large number of both residents and customers throughout Australia and work extensively with that research to make sure when we design and we run our assets and our shoppings and our residential communities and our shopping centres or whatever it may be, that we focus on the fine-grained detail, because ultimately that fine-grained detail is the thing that makes a difference. Whether it's a design, whether it's the way we run our centres, whether they're clean or they're not clean. And this sounds like business as usual, but it's hard, and it's hard for all of us. And it needs to be focused on, and it needs to be we need to continue to invest in this space to make sure that our centres and our communities or our office buildings present as best as they can. Health and inclusivity is also extremely important to all of us. As the population ages and changes, we need to think more broadly about the way in which we set up our assets. At Stockland, we've had a great partnership with Jamie's Ministry of Food at Stockland, and we've had over 6,700 people through the Jamie's course. And that's starting to evolve the way in which people think about their food in terms of what they're buying. Huge variance in terms of their fruit and vegetable consumption. And there's a lot more, I think, that all of us can do in that space. We're also working in terms of play areas, and all of us have got play areas in our centres, but we've spent a lot of money upgrading all our play areas. And our play areas, we work with an organisation called Touched by Olivia, and we're making sure that those play areas are inclusive. So they're set up for disabled people to be able to get in and out of, and to be able to spend time with the more mainstream population. In terms of solar, this is something that I think personally I find this, I'm very proud of this. And I think it's something that Stockland's been working on for a large period of time. We did a massive solar rollout down in Shell Harbour. But Stockland is, in the last sort of couple of months, has announced the largest retail solar out in the country. We're spending $23 million going back into our shopping centres and rolling out 39,000 solar panels around the country. And that's a pretty significant piece of work, but it just makes sense. In terms of reducing our outgoings, we can all see the increases in power costs. So getting these solar panels on the roof is something that makes sense, I think, from a community perspective, from a national perspective, and I think also from a Stockland perspective. And where all this comes together ultimately is in our town centres. So our town centres, we're working to integrate all these ideas in a big way, particularly back into our major residential communities. We've got a huge Aura community up in the Sunshine Coast, $1 billion redevelopment up there. And we're trying to take these ideas and integrate them into centres that are more outdoor, that are more inclusive. And only last week we did the sod turning at Britannia up on the Sunshine Coast. So in conclusion, retail continues to evolve. We're focused on the community, and we're looking to integrate that back into our retail and back into our whole business. Thank you.